So I talked a little bit about why Japan got involved in the Second World War and started the Second World War in East Asia in 1937. I want to talk a little bit about the atomic bombings a bit, both the history leading up to it, which I kind of hinted at, but also why they were dropped and also why they are not the reason Japan surrenders. It gives up in the war. So, first off, I kind of gave a little bit away that the reason why the Japanese want to keep the emperor, and this is the arguing point between June and July of 1945, is the Japanese civilian government understands that if we sign a peace treaty, there's absolutely no guarantee that the army is going to stand down. And in fact, history tells us the army and navy might just continue doing whatever the heck they want to do because that's what they are allowed to do in the Constitution, but have shown historically that they do not respect democracy or the civilian government of Japan and will only listen to the emperor if the emperor says no, come back to Japan, the war is over. So when America is developing the nuclear bomb, its first target is going to be Berlin, Germany. They develop it with a German first policy for Japan. When the training test is successful in July of 1945, and Harry Truman knows he has a working atomic bomb at Potsdam, the argument now becomes, well, we have to select targets. And obviously, they have Kyoto, which is the cultural capital which struck off, and then they make a list of all the ones as well because they want a city that's not too big that it would just wipe out everyone, but also one that they can maximize the damage and terror and yada yada. You've seen Oppenheimer, you've seen this discussion as well. At this point, Japan already knows the war is lost. They are arguing and voting constantly within the military council and the civilian government. Like, look, we want to negotiate peace. We want to end this war. We know we've lost. They're trying to do this to the Soviet Union, but the Soviet Union is telling them, no, we're not, because Stalin agrees to invade Japan in August of 1945, and that's what the Red Army does. They invade Manchuria in 1945. The Kwantung Army, the Red Army, overwhelms them in 2 weeks. It's the most successful and rapid defeat of an enemy in the entire Second World War in terms of size of forces. An army of about 800, 900,000 Japanese soldiers are overwhelmed by the Red Army in 2 weeks, and they have a very comparable amount of men. Just the Red Army has planes and tanks and knows how to do deep battle doctrine.